Hey yo, Attack on Titan, baby. I know everyone's hyped about this last season, but it's definitely been some pushback about some of the animation quality, and I can kind of see it. It definitely looks a little more different. Some of the movements definitely look kind of awkward, and the art from Mikasa looks like a completely different person.
I look like yes, and you look like no.
It actually got so bad that the staff from the animation studio had to put out a statement telling people to stop harassing them, which is OD. Because yeah, I understand. Attack on Titan has some good animation. Some of these fight sequences, very clean, very smooth, okay? But take this fight with Levi. Literally 2 minutes later, we get this. What am I looking at? What is that? They're just like floating? They're like Spider-Man, but like they're not like shaking or anything like that? That's like the most awkward thing in the world. There's only a few studios that have mastered CG, and I feel like it's unfair to compare every single anime to these kind of golden standards. On the real, most of the studios that try to do it end up producing stuff that end up looking like this. God, this is so mean. Comparatively, Attack on Titan is leagues above this. So animation is more about fluidity. So how clean are the motions? How natural do they look? How many frames are in the show? A lot of people take animation to be more than what it is. So I want you to look at this fight with Guy. I guarantee you, none of you saw this frame where he looked like this. That's because animation's about the motion as a whole, so the individual frames that lead up to that motion are non-factors. That's like saying someone's ugly because you took a picture of them while they blinked. It doesn't mean anything. With that being said, when you can see the frames, that's bad animation. That's like awful animation. I don't even know what's going on in this scene. It's not about if you have a sudden drop in art quality or stunning backgrounds, because you can have good art and still end up with stuff that looks like this. You got the next Jimi Hendrix right here. Because the art is just that, art. I mean, sure, the animation studio gets to decide how it looks, but I mean, it's their creative process and it's what they decide wants to go in. So, you know, no matter how questionable it may look, I mean, some of those look really questionable. Really questionable. Really questionable. Okay, I'll take it back. This one's bad. This is bad. Bad animation usually happens one of two ways. Because you might be wondering, hey, how do I spot it? The first is repeating frames. And the second is not enough frames. Sometimes just to save money, and I get it. You know, animes are expensive, but sometimes it could kind of take away from the realism and have the scenes do the opposite effect. But I am convinced that some of these have to be trolls. There's no way. And then you have your older animes, which can just be kind of choppy and they don't really age well. I will admit, though, that a lot of the older animes, especially with that hand-drawn animation, had everything looking really smooth, really clean. You could feel all the hits that are just coming in. The best example, in my opinion, though, was that first episode of Cowboy Bebop, where Spike fought that dude with the red eyes who was on drugs. Bro, that fight was straight crack. I never expected anything like that before in my life. Had me hooked episode 1. He said, what? Oh, yeah, I got hands for you. Oh, left hook, right hook. Okay, you ready for this kick, though? Bam. No bull. If this fight was on pay-per-view on cable right now, charging $100 per view, son, this joint be making millions. Millions, bro. Easy. But don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that every single frame at every single second has to be moving. Something has to be happening all the time. But come on, this, look at this. Come on, yo, this is a joke. Like, I get that money can be tight, but there's no way you were like, yeah, this is the solution right here. And what is this weird thing where when characters walk, they don't show their legs. They just have them hopping up and down kind of like dolls or, you know, shaking side to side. Like what is that? Can we just have people walk? Man, these characters, like, they're straight from like an old season of South Park, kind of just like pitter-pattering like across the screen. It's so crazy, yo. And just to reiterate, I'm not saying that every animation has to be top tier, has to be the greatest thing my eyes have ever seen. All I'm saying is, why are we seeing things like this?
Bruh.
Then there's my personal favorite, where you have the character just slide across the screen as if depth perception is like not a thing.
Why? What are they gonna do? Cut our budget? I'm gonna go get a beer.
And then you have things like your awkward motions, like what is that? And then clear mistakes. Why did he go back after he threw her? God, this jump was so bad. And then there's just everything up with this scene. So he has the rocking thing going back and forth. Then it goes to this like demented dog who's like skateboarding with the sidewalk. And you're just kind of like, okay, this is the worst it could be. No. Then there's like a clear mistake with the background where it fades to a background and then quickly fades to a different background. What was that transition? What was going on? And then you have the infamous car chase scene. Now, I'm not saying they should have gone to jail, but like this has to be illegal. Like this has to be breaking some sort of law. Okay, so this car is stuck. It's gonna go down the stairs. It's like instead of actually moving, they're just shaking the camera. She's floating up and down from her seat. And then the car just kind of like trips its way, no depth perception, goes through the tunnel. Good, okay? Come out the tunnel, train's coming. What are they gonna do? Somehow it trips forward, floats down into the water. Then there's My Sister, My Writer. Probably one of the worst animation jobs of the last 10 years. What really set this apart is because everything thus far was okay except for, some really crucial moments. Everything about this anime was just cheap. It was just such a poor job overall in the art, in the movement. Some of the stuff I wasn't even sure it was intentional. Why is she rubbing her hands together like Birdman with like comb hands? And then you have the MC, he's laying down, bam, missing frames. It got to a point where I was questioning everything. Like, was that motion intentional? And then sometimes there wasn't enough motion. Like, look at this. She goes, "Huh?" And then she stays there for a while, and then she goes, "Huh? What is going on? Why didn't she move?"
Crap. Pure, unadulterated crap.
But don't take my word for it. One of the key animators changed his name in the credits to Honestly, I'm Screwed. He knew. GG. This is bad. There goes my career. And then there's the complete garbage that is season 3 of Seven Deadly Sins. I actually paid someone on Fiverr to reanimate the Meliodas versus Scanor fight, and I want you to compare it to the actual fight. So here it is. All right, not bad for $100. Let's see how an actual animation studio handles it now. And I know what a lot of you guys are thinking. Wait a minute. That was the same clip. Yes, you're right. For a second, you thought I paid someone $100 to do that. And now, for the most egregious example of bad animation. Now, I gotta give credit where credit's due. So Eva helped revitalize anime in the 90s. It's influenced countless other series and it's one of the richest franchises in history. And to be fair, they had absolutely stunning animation when it came to the fights. You can really tell that they didn't pinch any pennies on those. It's even more amazing considering that this came out in the 90s, so this is absolutely amazing. At times, the sequences can be elegant, almost as if the robots are just dancing across the screen. And yet, they're still able to make it feel extremely bombastic, so you can just feel the savagery of what's happening on screen. But alas, it came at a cost. Eva ended up burning through its budget. They had absolutely no money, so they had to do whatever they could to save where they can, which led to things like the scene with Kaoru against Shinji. Hold on. We'll put that right there. Then, to discourage any kind of extraneous movement, they would have shots like this where they go down this really, really long escalator. It looks like it's going to like the center of the planet or something like that. Man, this joint is so long, it looks smack like the Wheaton Metro Station with like the 5 million stairs that it takes. And then, of course, we got the infamous elevator scene where a smooth nothing happens on screen for like 30 seconds or something like that. I remember the first time I saw this, I thought my jump broke. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. Is that a blink? Okay. Okay, my internet's still working. Okay. And there it is. And then it got to a point where they just started animating the storyboard. And it was just a little wacky because I was like, this is completely not the same art style that was happening before. And oh, there it is. Shinji finally just crushed Kaoru. That whole time, that's all he was doing, just holding him. Trust and believe when I tell you that this is not going to be the last time that guy next goes broke working on a project. But what made Eva different was this was the last 1 or 2 episodes. This was the conclusion. It actually got so bad that they weren't really able to wrap up the story properly in the anime. I actually have real footage from a board meeting explaining what happened for the last 2 episodes.
I should just show you. We have the pilot.
What's that, the script?
Actually, we spent all our money on the Vin Diesel show. Oh my God, he's so awesome. So we got to do this one with a flip book.
But of course, it got to a point where even a flip book was too much. It was too expensive. So what did they do? Just have a bunch of still images of just storyboard. And then right here, they wrote in the motion. They said, pull back. They didn't have her actually move. Son, I don't know. This joint was so low budget for the last episode. It was not even funny, yo. It was a little funny. This joint was bad. It was just all drawings. Like, you might as well have just gotten a bunch of fan art, just pasted it on the screen, and just put a bunch of subtitles on it, or just have like people like voice over it. Like, what is happening here? Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. This is, are you serious? You know there's something wrong with your anime when it has less animation than a flipperama from a Captain Underpants book. Well then, that concludes the video. Did I forget anything? Did I leave anything out? Let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.